Hello, I'm EnterElysium, welcome back to Aurora 4X. So, we've gone on I think about a year or so since the last episode, basically waiting for the carriers to be almost ready, and particularly one thing. Now, we want to do about two things today. One thing's related to the carriers, the other one is just related to something that I should have done a little bit earlier. And that is, the first thing we should probably do is set up a sector. Now, sectors are basically like areas of space where you can designate several systems as being in a sector. They're not even areas of space, I guess, because jump gates don't necessarily lead to the closest star, but whatever. They are not geographically closest, but in the jump gate network closest. And by having at Earth, sector command, somewhere here it says sector command. There we go, sector command HQ, level 3, radius 2. So I'm suspect sector command is something like a square root function. So it's doing like square root of 3, and it's then rounding it, so it's 2, I think. So that means radius of 2. It means any system within 2 jumps can be added to the Earth sector. And the benefits of sectors are pretty good. You put someone in charge of a sector, and they give a quarter of their bonus to everything in the sector. Yeah, that's pretty good, right? Just every single asteroid mine, every single planet, everything. Just, oh yeah, quarter of my bonus. It's only a quarter, but it's to everything. So it's pretty damn good. And I have, if we click here, sectors. Now, nothing's going to happen because I've actually got the window open, I think. I was checking it earlier. There we go. Sector. It allows you to assign sectors. So you can see we've got Earth sector. We can rename it if we want. I might do that. I might rename it like Terran sector or Home sector or Elysian Empire sector. I don't know. But effectively, it's Earth sector. It's the sector which Earth is at the center of. Currently, it's got the Sol in it because the Sol system is the system that has the HQs in it. I'm going to add all of the other systems within 2 jumps, which is basically all the ones we're allowed, to Earth sector. There we go. And you can select the color, and you can change the color down here. I've set it to blue. Not that it really matters. I'm not going to be using the color as far as I am aware. You see radius 2, current systems 1, and possible systems 10. I think that should now, if I close and reopen that, yeah, there we go, 10 systems. And we have this guy, Civilian Administrator Archie Austin, plus 30% fact reduction, plus 15 mining, plus 5 ship bonus. So we get a quarter of all of those, which, you know, a nice bonus to mining on every single place nearby. Not bad. Now, of course, unfortunately, you need like someone with a really high administrative skill to be in charge of a sector. I think it's like level 6. Someone in charge of Earth needs level 5. Earth sector is level 6, so it's a higher tier again. And that means that I had a very limited pool to choose from. I'd have preferred a higher mining bonus because that would have been grand. Right now we're running a little bit low on corundium. We need to find a nice source of corundium. And we have. Incidentally, we have actually got a very nice source of corundium in the Ross system. I'm just going to search that. Oh, right. All systems. There we go. Ross. Accessibility 1, amount, large amount. It's also got some other things on there, so it brings it up to like a 2.1 total accessibility with a lot of materials. So it's a great place to set out a nice base. Unfortunately, can't colonize it, so it's going to be a mining post. Well, that's fine. And we've only just, I think, set up jump gates to Ross. Now, if I open this, or more precisely bring it down here, you can see that, oh, look, this is our Earth sector here. Refresh. Everyone is Earth sector. Now, you can always change this to be like, I'm going to use the color instead. Yeah, I could use the color. For now, I'm going to stick with the... Wait, that's the wrong one. That's the race color? Interesting. You can use sector color. There we go. You get like a slight outline on the sector color. I could use race color. I'll pass on race color for now. We don't know any other races really, so... right. So Signy's still our issue. We do need to improve a couple of things on our carriers. Also, very shortly we'll be doing a outward exploration burst, as soon as we've sorted Signy, I think. And the reason for that is, you can, because we've got, right, the way we've got our game set up is, there are no other alien races. They are created when you discover a new system. There's a chance of them being created. They don't necessarily get created, but there is a chance of them being created. They don't exist to begin with. That speeds up processing. It's not worrying about alien races in the background that we're never going to meet. But it does mean we can just sit in Sol and these systems, now they're clear, and just be like, yeah, we're just going to twiddle our thumbs and be awesome here. That would be optimal, but I'm just going to go for it anyway. And incidentally, when you create a new alien race, they are created depending on the time since the start of the game. We've progressed fairly slowly, so they might be fairly advanced when we get there. But, I think it's time to do an outward burst of exploration, especially since we need to find more corundium. We'll also get the corundium in the Ross sector. The Ross system, sorry. But soon we'll want to pop back to Cygni. Anyway, let's put that on the second monitor so I can easily reference that. And I want to talk today about turrets for point defense. We have got a nice Gauss cannon I've researched. I believe that's already researched with a fire rate of 3, a launch velocity of 4, and an accuracy of 100%. Now, you can make them smaller for less accuracy. I want 100% accuracy. I'm not too worried about size. If we look at the size, that is like 300 tons. It's not terrible. And it's 100 accuracy. And I want to be able to hit missiles with this, so accuracy is important. These are just the best things available, so you don't need to worry about these so much. We then need to make a turret from this. So we're going to go turret design. Boop. And then we got turret tracking speed is 10%, gear is 5,000 kilometers per second. So the technology we have is turret tracking speed, 5,000 kilometers per second. That applies when using 10% of the turret as gear. So if we were looking for a turret speed of 5,000, you'll notice that 10% of the mass of the turret is gear. So this is the mass of the turret. Turrets are bolted onto the side of your ship, and they weigh a certain amount based on what gun you have. So if we put in the storage cell Gauss cannon for 100, I believe 4 means it's got a range of 40,000 because it's a launch velocity of 4. Yeah, there we go, 40,000 kilometers per second. And I believe the 100 references... I actually have no idea what the 100 reference... Oh, the accuracy. It doesn't reference the fire rate anywhere in the spec name, which is a mistake, I think. But anyway, 3 shots every 5 seconds. And you can be like, I want double, I want triple, I want quad. You can have a quad Gauss cannon turret, which is pretty cool. I'm going to stick with twin for now. We might up it a little bit later. Basically, we want to get a lot of shots downrange to be able to take out missiles as they come in. And this is just, beam size is 6. We're doubling it, so it's 12. And the cost and so on. Then we get tracking speed. We want to get a tracking speed nice and high. So we want to get a tracking speed probably about 30,000. We know enemy missiles exceed 30,000. We probably want to get it up to 40,000. Notice the rotational gear now takes up 76% of the mass of the turret. Yeah. This is expensive, but we need it to be able to shoot down missiles. We could go for 50, but then we're looking at 95%, and that is just a bit too much. We get to, the extent of massively diminishing returns, in my view. So I'm going to stick with 40,000. Let's look at the development cost if we do this, by the way. Boop. It's not that big. Gear size 11.4. 9.12. I mean, this is future-proofing. If you have a tracking speed of less than the missile, you have a less chance to hit it. If you have a tracking speed that's fine, I think you've got basically a 100% chance of hitting it. So, I think I might actually go with the 50,000. Yeah. We'll also put some armor on. Now, because turrets are bolted on outside of the armor of your ship, they're literally on the side. You need to give them armor, because they're not internal to the ship. They're not protected by the ship's armor. So we're going to give it maybe an armor of 2? Ooh, that's... I mean, the size of the armor... .12 size is the guns. Bear in mind that these are whole sizes. I wish there was a button to convert it to tons. So this is times effectively 50 for tons. So this is what, like 600? Yeah, 6 is 300, so that's 600 tons. That's another 600 tons roughly. Armor. That's about another 300 tons. So we're looking at about 1.5 kilotons, which is okay. I've stripped down the cruiser to make the carrier just to make it a little bit more point defense, because that's the thing that's missing. Our point defense was a little bit lacking there. So I probably want to get the armor up to 3 though, because currently if we're hit by enemy missiles, the missiles tend to be damage 9. They might improve in future, but for now, I think we probably want to get damage 9 missiles. And damage 9 missiles have a penetration of 3, because it's a square, isn't it? So it's 1 is 1 layer, 4 is 2 layers, 9 is 3 layers. So we want to be able to 3 layers of armor before it hits any internals. Ideally, we won't get hit by a missile, but that's by the by. So we have here a twin turret, which means it puts out 6 shots every 5 seconds. With a range modifier of 4. That's because it's 40,000 to begin with. Max range, there we go. Turret size. And remember that 6 is 300, so that's 150. So yeah, it's about just over 1.5 kilotons. Hits to kill, takes 10. 23 crew to man the turret. Tracking speed of 50,000, so that should work for quite some time. And it's not a terrible development cost. Now, of course, we can go triple, we can even go quad, in which case we're looking at an increased hull size, but we do get to put 12 shots downrange every 5 seconds. Judging by the range of this and the speed of enemy missiles, we'd probably only get 1 shot as they get in range before they get past us. So the question is, do we want to put more shots downrange? I don't know if the hull size is going to be applicable. So let's bring up the Shul's class carrier. Now, we have done some work on it off screen, and we now have 1.7 kilotons of empty space. I did a few things to make that space. One of them was I removed the offensive weapons and the offensive fire control. We're now down to 6 missile size ones. We only had 5 before. I decided to up that to 6 because I didn't think 5 was a acceptable number. I've also given it I think I gave it something else. I'm not sure what it was for the life of me. What did you get? Oh, new armor. We've got compressed carbon armor. So I hit the new armor button down here to get compressed carbon armor, because when we created it, we didn't actually have the compressed carbon armor unlocked. There we go. That's a amazingly difficult to say for some reason. And I believe we've lost the excess crew storage. Flight crew bursts. Yeah, so I'm actually going to put that on after we've done fiddling, which is annoying. Yes. I've also, the other thing I did was I removed the secondary magazine. The reason being that we're only going to get 10 fighters per carrier, because we have 4, and each one can carry 2.5, so we're looking at 10 fighters. With 10 fighters, this is 4 reloads. What we had before was 6 reloads. I don't think they're going to be used that much. I don't think the fighters are going to be quite that much. I could get rid of some more forces. It's also allowed me to increase the number of partridges in the ship, which is the anti-missile missile. So that's quite nice, because we do use a lot of anti-missile missiles, and the more we can spam, the better. So that gives us a 1.7 kiloton rating. Now remember, we do need to get a little bit more in there. We do actually kind of lack right now. Ooh, hello alarm. Go away. Thank you. We do actually lack crew spaces for the fighters, so they've got nowhere to sleep right now. So we need to get about a 1.5 kiloton turret, and funnily enough, the twin turret is about 1.5 kilotons. It's a shame we can't get a bigger turret. Straight up. Do think it's a shame. But it is trying to do all the things. It's trying to be a carrier, it's trying to be a flagship, it's trying to be everything, so I think it's fair. It's maybe not trying to be a flagship. That involves a flag bridge, and I haven't put that on yet. The reason being, I expect to have only 1 flagship per system, whereas I'll probably have 2 Shulzes per system. So let's set this up. Twin. I could decrease this, but how much size does that really get us? We go from 11 to 9. It's not worth falling back for that much. Now I could get rid of armor. If I go down to 0 armor, I could go up to a triple. But then any missile that gets through that does hit the turret is a bit risky. So I'm gonna stick with this. The twin store-wide cell Gauss cannon turret. And I'll probably want to have a note on there about tracking speed. Tracking speed is 50k. Anything else I want on there? Armor 3. And no, that's fine. Might want to note about the fire rate. DO1x3. There we go. That's damage output, tracking speed, armor. Yeah, let's create that. So that'll take a little time to research, which is fine. And then we can put it on the carrier. So let's look up our good old-fashioned... Hello. Right, what would it be under? Missiles? Kinetic? No. Energy weapons? Yes, because you can put laser weapons in a turret. We could have put laser weapons in a turret. Straight up, we could use a laser weapon here, but Gauze, it's got a higher rate of fire. I think it's probably more applicable. Lasers have a slightly longer range and do more damage, but Gauze has a higher fire rate. So, show me a matching scientist. We've only got 10% as... I might just take off whoever is working on particle beam right now, because you're just filling in the back catalogue. So we're going to cancel that. And we'll put you on the twin storewide cell Gauze cannon turret. Create. How long will that take you to make? 7 March next year. Nope, that's not acceptable. Temporarily, we're going to remove a load of people from projects to be able to buff this project. Now, the reason you want a turret, I did mention last time, is you want layered point defense. So they get past anti-missile missiles, the turret takes over. The turret can defend everyone in the fleet. They get past that, it's down to the close-in weapon system, the CWIS. CWIS only protects the ship that it's targeting. So, you know, enemy missiles come from my carrier, the carrier is protected by its CWIS. It isn't protected by anyone else's CWIS. The turret here will protect the entire fleet. What else do I want to... You're working on fire rate 4, which is great. We could totally use that in the point defense, not in the point defense turret. I guess it is a sort of point defense turret. It's not a CWIS. But yeah, I could use that, but it's not going to be done until like 2 years' time, so I'm not going to wait that long. So I will buff you some more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, you'll be done 18th of December. Excellent. Anything else I want to talk about? Oh yeah, we'll need a fire control for this. So we need to find a beam fire control, because they're considered beams. Now, we know it has a range of 40,000. The beam fire control here only has a range of 32,000. So we can use 1.5 times 1.5 times range, which will give us a range of 48, although the gun is limited to 40,000. Or we could lose the 8,000. It's a question of, do we want to gain 8,000 or lose 8,000 from that turret? Because the fire control, whichever's the lowest, it counts as. It's only 35 tons at the moment. I'm probably going to go with the increased size and range. Normally it weighs 25 tons. We're getting this up to 35. Sure. So this will get a range of 40,000 because it's limited by the turret. Now, tracking speed. 5,000. No. Straight up, no. Tracking speed. 20,000. I think... Ooh, that might actually limit our turret. That might actually be the limiting factor on our turret. Yeah, so there's no point putting a 5 here because we won't ever get that kind of velocity with the turning rotational speed of the turret. So... I probably will have to just delete that turret and redo it. So... we can only get a tracking speed of that because we've only got 4 times. There's no higher than 4 times, sadly. Electronic hardening. Yes, I want to be able to shoot this even when people are trying to disrupt it. It's a ship-based system, and yes, no limitations. This will weigh 150 tons, so not particularly terrible. Who does my targeting sensors? Gip Gip. Inc. Okay. Right, so this is the Gip Inc. Tracking speed, yep, it's got it there. Do you have a... Yep, that's the range. You don't have a note on the accuracy. I think actually you do have a note on the accuracy if I fiddle it around, but right. So that is the Gip. I'm going to create that. And then we're going to have to alter this turret. So currently the turret size is a lot less. So can we go up to quad now? We can go up to quad. Since we have the decreased chance of hitting, we might as well go to quad, I think. Ooh, although actually adding the armor might have to settle for triple. Yeah. So we're going to have a triple storage cell Gauze cannon turret. Now, the advantage of this is it does actually now have a weapon. We can use this for things other than point defense. We just have to get very close. I don't really want to do that, but, you know, worst case scenario, we can do it. So, 10% gear, fire control, speed rating. That is all good. Max tracking speed. Okay. Now, the reason you want to put these in turrets rather than just on the ship itself is if you put it on the ship, it's basically hard pointed to the ship. And the tracking speed is how fast you can turn the ship, which is basically its movement speed. We want a higher velocity than the movement speed of the ship because we need to be tracking missiles. So that is why we're using a turret here. I probably should have explained that to begin with. So we're going to go with triple, 3 armor and only 20,000, which is a shame because I'm pretty sure that is a limiting factor by tracking speed over here, which is annoying. Right, so what do you need? You need a damage output is 1 times 9. Max range you've already got. Tracking speed, you need no tracking speed. Is 20k. And armor of 3. Create. Close. Close. And I need to go to research labs. Cancel the storage cell. Beam, 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 beam. Energy weapons. Twin storage cell. Delete. Triple storage cell. Oop, wait a minute. There we go. Create. And then we need the tracking speed. No, we don't. What is it? Where is it? We have a... Oh, it'll be under fire control. Yes. Aha. Who is our sensitive fire control person? Ah, you're working on a tracking speed fire control upgrade. Wait, great. We could use that, but it's too late. So, well, I would like you to cancel what you're doing. Because I want your 60. Gip, ink, fire control. Create. You'll be done in February. That's not acceptable. Let's start pulling people off of other techs. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And add those. I want to get this down to the 21st of December as well, ideally. '25th, 27th, 22nd, 21st. There we go. Brilliant. That means I can do it in basically a 30-day leap. Sweet. Right, let's do a 30-day leap then. And there we go. Right, let's refresh tech. We should have fire control. Ah, right. So yeah, it has 50% accuracy at this distance. So since we're not that distance, it'll have about 60% accuracy at max range of the turret. Right. Let's add one of those and triple Gauss cannon. We're now overweight slightly, which is fine. We can work on that. And we also need to then keep excess crew quarters, and I need about 100 spare crew quarters. So crew quarters. There we go. Now I've got to cut a quite sizable amount of weight. I could cut one of the Trot close-in weapon systems now that we do have a second point defense system. I could cut some shields. I don't want to cut some shields. I could cut some armor. Yeah, I'm going to cut 2 armor. Because I do have shields. And in fact, I could replace that with shields, but in fact, I think I'll replace it with a little bit of fuel, because a little bit of extended range would be good. That said, I am probably going to be running this group around with a tanker most of the time. There we go. We have 100 spare berths, we have quite the magazine capacity, and we have a triple storage cell Gauss cannon turret. We have a good range. Okay, and this is saved as the Shoals 2. So, you've got the newest armor. I'm going to lock the design. Not that I need to do that, really. And I'm going to go to Shoals 1, and yes, it's ticked as obsolete. So, let's do a refit. So, manage shipyards. Shoals, you've just finished your upgrade to 3 slipways. I would like you to retool to the Shoals Mark II. See, it's only going to take it till the 9th of January, because they are very similar designs. Because I only replaced slightly bits of the ship. So, please retool for that. And that'll take until January, so we're going to skip ahead a little bit. We've got 3 inactive research labs. We'll have to redo the research labs, and what I'll do is I'll probably come back to you in a few days once I've sorted out a lot of the stuff here that's waiting to be done and got the research back in order. So I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, so the retooling is done. If we bring it up. Boop. Shipyard tasks. Here we go. Shoals. It now has 3 slipways. It has an extra slipway order, and it has completed the adding of the retooling for. Oh, I don't know if you selected. Wait, there we go. Shoals class 2. And I've actually set another one to be built, which is why I've got 0 available slipways, because we now have the Shoals 2 Le Deux being built at 0%. Now, when these get built, on the 7th of April, we'll quickly tell them to go back in for a refit. Refit shouldn't take too long, because it's only refitting about 5% of the hull. So hopefully that will help. Although we are refitting all the armor as well. I don't know if that... I don't know how that'll count. But anyway, hopefully it won't take too long. In other news, we're currently building research labs, military academy, ordnance factory, naval shipyards, commercial shipyard, mines. I actually need to build mines and automated mines like really quick. We're running out and I want more because I need more resources. However, we don't have the corundium to build them. You can see right here, corundium with 633. None of these use corundium. Mines do. And we still haven't got enough corundium. Like, it's so annoying. But we desperately need more corundium. We need maybe 20,000 to do that many mines. But hopefully we'll get some. Right. What else are we doing currently? We've just shipped over all the parts of a nice little PDC to, I think it is Alpha Centauri B. So yeah, we're now assembling the Salimar PDC, which shouldn't take too long. Although by too long I mean it'll take over a year, because we're just using what are they called? Construction battalions? Construction brigade, yeah. So they should be building that, and hopefully they'll stop complaining about the security problem. I believe they are wanting 2 protection level, they have 0, and they have, the stability modifier is fine. That's because our military units there are kind of like pointing guns at them, and they're like, yeah, we'll do all the work, don't worry. It's one way of keeping people in line. So now we just got to wait until the Shoals class are built and we can just quickly refit them. And then we'll be going back to 61 Cygni and avenging that last kind of horrendous defeat we had. Right. More research labs on Earth, retooling for the Darekan 2. Now, I did, in between this episode and last episode, I did have a quick look at the Darekan class because we just built a couple of them. Actually, we built like 4 of them, and they are horrendously out of date. Like, straight up. They are pretty badly out of date. They are using the magnetoplasma drive, sure, but they still don't have a particularly high speed, and they were using gravitational survey sensors when they really should be using the advanced ones. We've actually made massive leaps and bounds in the very short time since we built this. They were not massively out of date by, like, chronological date. They're just massively out of date by the technology we've got since then. So, and also I don't need that much of a range. That's insane. That's insane. Truly, crazy range. So what I've done is I made the Darekan 2. Look at that. Suddenly we've got 3 times the speed. We also have improved geological sensors. which gives us roughly the same amount of survey points. We also have, and this is something I've learned since, okay? It's not explained anywhere in the game at all. It's not even hinted at. If you have active sensors and passive sensors of size 1 or less, they count as commercial. It doesn't tell you that. Now, this is actually something I'm going to just quickly raise as a bugbear. Now, you could say, oh, there's plenty of problems with the game, but there needs to be some consistency, and this is where it falls down. If we go to engine, and if we lower the power to 50, and we raise the size, I believe, to... Where is the threshold? 25, I think. Commercial engine. And that tells you commercial engine. If you do this with like active sensors, it doesn't say that's a military sensor and that's a commercial sensor, but it should do. So I had no idea about that until someone mentioned in the comments. And this is really useful because it now means that we can send in a commercial geological survey vessel and find out if there are enemy ships in the system. And not as much enemy ships, but definitely enemy populations, because enemy populations give out a lot of heat and a lot of EM. So we should be able to detect them nicely. We've also got 2 different variants of sensors. One sensor is designed for seeing like 1,000-ton craft. So if they've got small craft, the other one's designed for seeing much further away, 3 times the range, but it's designed for a much bigger resolution. I can't remember what the resolution of it is. It's 200. I can't remember what it is in tons. I don't know why we're using hull size. Please, just say tons. I probably should put it in the title. But anyway, so now we can actually see systems when we go in. We can detect enemy things. We also have a lot of geological survey sensors. I mean, we've updated the armor on here, for Christ's sake. It's really useful. And I'm just going to go and be like, right, all the Decans I just made, I'm sorry, but you're going back in for refitting. And you need to refit all your engines and probably your armor. And you need a load of sensors, less fuel, and all your geological survey stuff, yeah. So basically we're refitting about 8% of the craft, so it's going to be expensive, but I think it's worth it. So you've got the Darecons. I would like you to refit 2, Darecon, new class, Darecon Mark II. And you notice here it's like, oh, it'll take over 2 years. Not much in the terms of resources. I mean, it'll take you a lot of uridium and gallicite, but other than that, it's not too bad. Uridium and gallicite, I think, is because one is sensors and one is engines, I think. But yeah, let's send everyone through. And ooh, we have a lot of people in orbit. Well, I think the Darecon, as one of our longest serving, of course the first in the original line, needs to be refitted too. Yeah, 80% of the original cost of the ship. The Isaac. The Jazza. And the Simbury. And we can't do the rest because we don't have enough slipways. So in the meantime, I'm going to add some extra slipways. And these won't actually take too long. I mean, by too long, I mean they'll take about 7 months or something. Right. Research labs. Quite easy what I'm doing in the research labs right now. I'm just chucking them into learning about magnetic confinement so I can get that as a new engine. Although it is already happening this year, so maybe someone else. Let's do some of the tracking speed. Why not? Right. Very soon, we're going to have to start moving our research labs, by the way, off planet. We're going to have to move them to some of the new planets where we have bonuses from the alien ruins that are there. So it'd be nice to be able to get like an extra 60% bonus to energy. So very soon, we're going to have to be doing that. We will know the population on those planets is viable, of course. I think it's like 5 million for each research lab or something. I'm not sure off the top of my head. So, you know, we need to wait until there's a viable population. But when there is, like, 100 million, we'll probably send out a few research labs and start dealing with that. Anyway, let's start advancing time. I think it's April. We're expecting the shuttles to be completed. Research labs on Earth. Addition of greenhouse gas complete. Maintenance failure. Maintenance failure. Unload constant Mercury. I think we now have jump gates on pretty much every system and all of the jump points out of systems. Yep. And as experience performance duties, blah, 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 blah. So research labs, and then we've got to look at this, hopefully habitable planet. 2 more, just screw it, put them on you. Why not? Barnard Star A2. Temperature isn't good enough yet, so I'm going to keep going up with the temperature. Safe greenhouse gas. I'm going to probably want to get that up a little bit more, so I'm going to go for maybe a 0.4. I might drain the nitrogen, I don't know. I mean, it's probably quicker just to add the oxygen. So, yeah, right, save. I always forget to select this, so I'm glad I remember this time. Because normally I'm like, oh yeah, right, I'm going to up the amount, and then leave, and I'm like, it's still on terraforming inactive, which annoys me. But anyway, that should be fine. Boop. And construction of research lab completed on Earth. Construction of military academy begun on Earth. Slipway added to ballpark mean 7. Okay. Just add you to there for the moment. Who completed a... You, the Lord Bacons. Yeah, I'd like another slipway here. Now, you might notice I've started using continual capacity expansion. There's a reason for that. And it annoys me no end. But if you use increased capacity by 10,000 tons and then you have to cancel that midway through, you lose it. If you do continual capacity expansion, it expands at exactly the same rate you'd be doing for 10,000, but you can cancel at any time and you retain the progress. There is never a point to do this, and it's annoying because I hate having numbers like this. I'd rather they were nice numbers, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Sadly. Very, very sadly. And I might get these to add extra slipways right now because they're at 30,000. And look, I can cancel their progress. It's amazing. The idea is to get them to about 40,000 so I can have several different 40,000 ton ships. What else we got? I think we're fine. Just 5 days. And we should see the shoals appearing sometime soon. Come on, shoals. Built, built. Excellent. And 5 inactive research labs on Earth. Why? What did we just finish? Oh, we just finished genome sequence. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really going to be going in. I'm probably going to be doing terraforming because my terraforming tech is so good. But for the sake of like investigating this, I will start looking into improving our species for different environments. So basically, you can use genome editing to make them, more, resilient to different temperatures, temperature range, oxygen, etc. And eventually, yeah, we'll add the extra terraforming rate where we need it. Our giant orbital terraforming, like basically Genesis habitats are pretty good at doing that. Right, let's look at you, the shoals. Manage shipyards. Johnson Dry Dock. I would like to refit shoals to shoals 2. And that will take you until June. April, June. Yeah, less than 30 days. Add task. Add task. Bam. We'll do a 30-day jump. And... come on. Completed overhaul, completed overhaul. We are good. Which means that next episode, we're heading back to 61 Cygni. We're going to be taking them on. And we need a name for the task force, the operation. I don't know. I'm going to have to think of one in between this episode and next. But we're going to get our revenge. And I'm looking forward to this, especially because this is going to be a proper good task force. I know how to do point defense now, in theory, maybe. Maybe I've screwed up. I don't know. But this should, in theory, work quite nicely. I've been EnterElysium, and if you enjoyed this episode, please like, not subscribe, please consider subscribing. Next time we go into battle. Stay shiny.